I just moved the EddieBot Mongo database from Atlas to a local instance where the EddieBot is being hosted on a Civo VM. And I wanted to show you how you can install the Mongo Community Edition to your virtual machine or even a dedicated virtual machine. It was really straightforward and I thought it would be really useful. So the first thing I want to do is create a VM. I'm going to use Civo. You can use any platform you want. I really like how Civo has clear and affordable pricing. So I'm just going to say Mongo Video. I'm gonna go for the smallest one, $5 a month, because that's really still quite powerful. You could do quite a lot with that. Mongo is very efficient. I'm gonna use the latest LTS, and I'm gonna use the root user, default network. I'm gonna create a public IP address. No, actually, I don't need a public IP address because it's all gonna be local, so I'm gonna say none, but I will want to SSH to it, so let's do yes for that for now. We can work with the firewall to enable and disable access as well. Create a new firewall or use an existing one. I think one of my existing ones allows me to connect via SSH, so I could use one of those, but I'll create a new one for now, and we'll not use a random password. We're going to use my SSH key so I can connect to it. No tags and no initial script. Let me just hit create. That will happen really quickly, and then we'll get the IP and we can connect to it from my terminal on the other side, and we're going to run through how you can install Mongo. I think we've probably like 5 or 6 commands. Some of those commands are just checking the status of the Mongo as well, and we can make sure that Mongo starts up if the server is ever rebooted by us or by an update or whatever. Make sure Mongo always starts up as well, so we'll definitely do that. While it's building this VM, it takes about 30 to 60 seconds. Just want to show you that you can also add volumes if you want extra storage and you want them detached from the VM itself. So if I was to, I suppose, host a bigger and more important database, because EddieBot, the data in there is quite temporary, then I would probably add a volume and then make sure the Mongo database files are stored on the volume. Therefore, if I ever want to, create a new VM or whatever I want to do, I can point at that data and that new instance of Mongo can just continue from where they left off without importing and exporting. But I would still do an export just as a backup as well. There are various things I would do, but that's a separate discussion. Now our VM is up and running. We do have a public IP, so I'm going to say SSH. And I want to go as root, not as my user, because if you don't specify a user, it will go as the user you logged in on your machine. And because I'm connecting to the server for the first time, I want to make sure that I'm connecting to the right server and nothing else. I'm just going to say yes, that's fine, happy to do that. This password is for my SSH key, so I'm going to type that in. Oh, hopefully I get it right second time. Now we're logged into that server and we get a bit of information about it. This is a clean VM, so if I try and connect to Mongo, it's going to say not found. So we are going to install that. Another thing you can do is also check the version that you're running, and for Ubuntu it will be in etc lsb-release, and it will tell you what you're running. So I'm running 22.04. You can install Ubuntu from your default package manager, but you're not going to get the latest version, and it might not be the official one managed by Mongo. I recommend installing it through the official package. But to do that, we need a few commands first. First of all, let's install curl, because we're going to need that command to download some files. And we don't need sudo in front of this because we're root already. And it's best not to do things as root, but for this video, I'm keeping it simple. So we'll install curl, and we also need GNU PG, which is a GPG. Let me get it up and make sure I get it right. Here you go. You can see that GNU PG is the free implementation of OpenPGP standard. And we're going to use this not to sign our data, but to check that we are installing the right version of Mongo. So if I install those, that was very, very quick. And then next, we do want to download the MongoDB public GPG key. I copied this from their docs because it is quite a pain to type out. I wonder if I stretch this, maybe you could see it a bit better. There you go. So there are multiple commands there. Here we're doing a curl, and then we're piping it with the GPG command, the one we just downloaded a minute ago. And then we're going to pipe it with the dir-more command, which is pack or unpack, okay? But again, I took this straight from the docs, official docs, and we've done that. Okay, so next, what we want to do is make sure that we add it to the app source. And here, what we're going to do is, you can do this manually, but we're going to do an echo. So this is going to echo this entire long string, and then it's going to be added to this file, MongoDB org7 list in this path. And you can even check that if we did a cat on that file, we can make sure it has been added, and it will be that string. So you can see that it matches this entire string between the quotes. And you could have added that manually by vimming the file and copy and pasting in, but this is just a great way to do it all in one command. And then next, we want to update our apt packages, so our package manager. So we can do apt get update. So now we need to update apt. We want it to update its local database so it can use the new strings and information that we've added. And as you can see now, that is done. And then next, we can install the latest version of Mongo, the interesting part that you've all been waiting for. So we can do apt-get install. Y means yes to everything, so we don't have to do it interactively. We can accept everything. And we're going to install MongoDB org. And this is going to be the latest version. You can specify the version if you want to be specific. You could put equals and put a specific version, but I'm going to go for the latest one. I always feel the latest stable is really good. So now that's going to install that. So now Mongo is installed, we can check the status of the Mongo if it's running. We know it's installed, but make sure it's running. I doubt it is running just yet, but let's have a look at the MongoDB status, and it says inactive, it's dead. That's fine, that's what we expect. So what we can do next is we can run that same command, but instead of status, we can say start. And now if we run the status command again, we can see now it's active and running. So it looks really good. One thing to bear in mind is it might not run if you reboot the server. So what we want to do is do the similar sort of command, but instead of start or status, etc., we can do enable. And now it's going to create a symlink to make sure that it is up and running when the system boots up. So if you ever have a manual reboot or the system gets restarted by the hosting provider, whatever the reason, Mongo will come straight back up. And how can we check it's actually running? Well, we can clear that. We can actually go Mongo sh, and we'll be able to see it running. And now we're connected. And if you want to connect to this database from your app, Node, Java, Python, whatever it is, you can use the string. Don't forget to put the database at the end. And that's it. You have now got Mongo running on your system. Let me know how you use Mongo. Do you use a hosting provider like Atlas? Do you manage it yourself? Do you use Kubernetes? I'd be super interested to hear how you store your database. So I am using Mongo for EdiBot, and for other new projects, I'm going to try to test out Postgres. We are going to be using Prisma ORM for our Postgres database. I think that's quite an interesting one to use. But if you want to geek out with me, come and join us in the Eddie Hub. We're geeking out on open source every day. I look forward to seeing you there.